right now we put on the new LL120 fans that took a lot longer than we were hoping because the fan holes were not pre-threaded, so we had to thread those and all that good stuff, and of course we had to take off the old fans. I might be replacing that back fan right there with one of the old fans. But these look so cool, as you saw in that video beforehand. And yeah, everything else came as well. And so this is the motherboard right here. It's in that plastic bag, so it's really hard to see. We got ourselves the Commander Pro, as you saw that in the last video. The graphics card we did end up getting is the Zotac Gaming GeForce RTX 2060 Amp Edition, which means it has a higher boost clock and stuff like that. So it was like $20 more than the normal version. And the processor is the Ryzen 7 Gold right here, and it is autographed by the CEO of AMD, as you can see right there in that below the N right there. So yeah, we got all of these fans through these little holes right here, and we are thinking about putting the lighting node and the commander down here in the HDDs. So we are using a 1 terabyte SSD, and that's going to go right here. That's what this is for. And so since there's not going to be anything down here, we may as well put the commander, the lighting node down there. And so what the lighting node does is there's 2 wires for each fan, as you can see right here. There's the RGB connection and the fan connection. And so the fan connection plugs directly into the fan port on the commander. The RGB connection goes to this tiny, tiny black box called the Corsair Lighting Node Pro. And what you do is you plug in all of the RGB connections to the fans here, and then this goes in and plugs into an LED strip connection right here on the commander. And so what the next step will be is we're going to put on the motherboard and the chip, and we're going to try to get all of the cables and stuff from the power supply up to that. And so yeah, let's see what it looks like from there. Alright, so this is the motherboard outside of the anti-static bag. I figured I'd just go ahead and show you that before I mounted that on the computer. And so yeah, it looks awesome. This logo right here and this little strip is RGB. And that's not RGB, but it still looks really cool with that rainbow effect right there. It does have a pre-mounted I/O shield, so I've heard that's a real pain to mount, so I'm glad about that. That is where the CPU goes. There's this little pin, and right now it's unlocked. To lock it, just slide that in and see how that moves. So yeah, that's how you mount the CPU. And there's plenty of room for USBs. There's USB 2.0s, that's a USB 3.0, 2 RGB headers, 2 fan headers, plenty of stuff. That's the main power to the from the power supply. DDR4 memory, there's 4 of them. These are the mounting brackets for a single type of CPU cooler. So there's 2 types. There's like a round one and a boxy one, like the one that I have up here. And the boxy one needs the mounting brackets. The round one mounts directly to the motherboard. So I will be using the brackets since I do have the boxy one. So this is the processor. As you can see, it is signed. I showed you that through the box, but that's it outside of the box. Each single little golden dot right there is a pin, and so you have to make sure all those line up really, properly on the CPU mount right there. So this right here is RGB. That gray strip around the outside is RGB, and there's a few lights coming in outside from the fans. Those heat sinks right there, they look so cool, and those copper heat pipes. So yeah, let's see what this looks like mounted inside of the computer. Alright, so here we have the motherboard, all of the front panel I/O connectors, and the CPU fan mounted. So this thing is starting to actually look like a real computer here. So as you can see, this looks awesome. So down here on this little strip right there, that's where we have to mount the power switch, the reset switch, and something called the power LED, which I'm assuming is what lights up the power switch right here. And so right here That's the USB 3.1 Gen 1 connector for the top. And right here is the audio, so that is going to be the microphone and stuff right here. And so next we're probably going to be mounting the graphics card, memory, and all that stuff. So yeah, I'll give you an update on the next thing we mount. Alright guys, so this is what the computer looks like. We have the graphics card right here, GeForce RTX 2060. And we have the Corsair Vengeance Pro 2 8GB sticks, so we have 16 gigs of RAM. We also did get this back fan hooked up. That's wired right onto back here. And yeah, so the next step will be we hook up the power supply, the Corsair Commander, and the SSD, so see you then. Alright guys, so we got the power supply, all that good stuff hooked up. So you see how it's very, very nice and neat in the front. And then you go around to the back. And this is our very expert cable management right here. We got the power supply and the hard drive hooked up. And so this is ready to be hooked up to a monitor and stuff and turned on for the first time. So go to my next video in the series and you will see that happen. So I'll see you guys next time.